Okay, let's get into it. As you know, on Mondays, we give you the message memo. But today, joining me is our Senior Director of Communications, Research, and Data, Asha Carroll. So, Asha, your team puts this whole memo together each and every week. You send it out on Friday afternoon, and you send it to a bunch of people. So, pull back the curtain. Give us a sense of how you put this together, and then who do you send this to on Fridays?
Sure. And so great to be here with y'all this morning. Richard, thank you for having me. It starts every Wednesday when we pull out the magic 8 ball and ask it what the next week's message is going to be. I'm absolutely kidding. There is a distinct coordinated effort in my work with our federal delegations, with our statewide elected officials, and with our legislative caucuses communications staff, who I just have to shout out here. These folks, they'll tire of hearing from me at some point, but we make that connection week after week, so that I can, number one, get a pulse on what they're talking about and what their plans are for the week ahead. And it doesn't start Wednesday. We do this at the start of every week, and there's an ongoing conversation that I'm so grateful for, so that we can be as coordinated as we possibly can, and so that this message memo can be a reflection of what people are talking about. And there's that coordination with the communications staff, but there's also the real-time research and data that's available to us. And so when you see the facts or the in the news or the do say, don't says of the message memo, those are grounded in either primary research that our research and data teams are collecting in real time here at the DFL, or the secondary research that some of y'all may be seeing come out. We'll take things that the DNC ships our way, new qualitative research. We'll get research from our partners. And it's really exciting to me. It's a labor of love between all of us, truly, across the ecosystem, to put this together. And just so grateful to be driving it. And again, I know that folks are so busy in our ecosystem, but the fact that they take that time, we get to have that communication every week, first in the setting of the theme, and second, to make sure it's as effective as it can be. So once I and with leadership here at the DFL, we settle on the theme, then kind of the fun part begins. And then we begin populating these sections, or the ingredients, as our executive director, Jim, likes to say, that we give to all of you to use in your communications as you see fit.
So folks on the call get it, obviously Monday mornings, but you also send this to a bunch of different groups on Fridays. Who all do you send this to, and how far and wide is this message memo reaching?
Sure. The message memo at this point is reaching thousands of people. And that's really exciting to me. So we are sending it out back to those people, of course, who had a role in its creation, but to our friends and allies of the party, to those staff, so that elected officials at all levels are getting access to it through their teams. We also post it on the SCC, that's the State Central Committee Google group. So if you are on that list, I know it can fill up quickly with all the notifications in the Google group. Please check your email, check into the Google group, and you'll see it there. We posted out to DFL Amplify, a new program that we have going on. We'll ship those are just three examples, I would say, where you can see it every week. And of course, DFL staff and interns get it from me, and they get a reminder, not just on the Fridays when I send it out, but they get a reminder every Tuesday at our all staff. We speak through the points as well.
Fantastic. And then we also have that list of progressive allies, like 115,
Yes.
130
Yes.
different organizations that are plugged in with the work, and we give it to them as well. And
Yeah,
it's really theirs for the taking, and hopefully they do take it and understand that that's where our concerted effort should be in terms of communicating that week. This week, the message is what democracy actually means for working Minnesotans in our day-to-day lives. So walk us through a little bit about what the message is this week.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Richard. So, like I said, every week we focus on a message to help name. Ideally, our messaging is naming what Minnesotans are experiencing in real time. And we are lifting up the DFL leaders, like so many of you all here doing the good work. This week, and we'll share a PDF here in the chat, our focus is democracy. And you'll see that the name of our message memo is Democracy Means, and I know it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but we landed on this message. Democracy means freedom. And in Minnesota, we will always defend that promise. Your right to vote, to speak out, and to make your own healthcare decisions. Democracy means your voice matters in the decisions shaping your life.
Exactly. Who you know or how much money you have shouldn't determine how free you are to live your life. In Minnesota, Democrats have fought to expand and protect the freedom to vote, protect your freedom to speak out, and protect the freedom to make your own healthcare decisions. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and Minnesota Republicans are trying to rewrite the rules for billionaires and powerful insiders while taking away freedoms from working people.
These are the points that we're emphasizing this week. So, building off of what you just shared, Richard, democracy is about making sure that working people have a voice. Republicans are taking these freedoms away from your family to benefit the billionaire class. Donald Trump, it's so important that we name the villains in this. Donald Trump and his wealthy friends do what helps themselves and leave everyone else behind. We've all seen that at this point. It's so familiar to us. While Minnesota Democrats, our DFLers, are defending freedoms at the ballot box, in our communities, in our homes, and our appointment rooms. That's a big one that we use as an example. Your healthcare decision should be between you and your doctor. That's where this
Exactly.
democracy is taking place. Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so important as Democrats that we say very plainly, Democrats are standing up for Minnesotans and Republicans are standing up for Donald Trump. Facts matter when it comes to the message we put out there each and every week. What are some of the facts that support the message this week?
So we have some examples of the ways that Trump and Republicans are taking away American freedoms, and a couple examples of the ways that Democrats are working hard to protect them. We'll start with some of those recent things that Republicans are taking away. And this is one proof point, but I know it's on the top of my mind. So many people have been reaching out to me about this, and that is the Supreme Court's weakening of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which could lead to one of the largest losses of Black congressional representation in modern history. Republicans across the country have supported laws targeting peaceful protest while protecting people who use violence against demonstrators. We saw that with ICE through Operation Metro Surge day in and day out here in our state. States restricting reproductive health care costs, cost working families hundreds of millions of dollars every year. I want you all to think about how life has changed since Roe v. Wade. And since Roe v. Wade was taken away from us, okay, that's top of mind. And we also know that hundreds. So now I'm going to lean into a couple positives. Hundreds of families have moved to Minnesota seeking refuge from anti-trans laws and access to healthcare. And I, for one, am so proud to be a Minnesotan because I know we are a trans refuge state. So we need to keep that top of mind here. Majorities of Americans, including independents, believe Democrats are more committed to protecting freedoms like free speech, free and fair elections, and freedom of religion. So people know, the majority of Americans know and believe that we are doing this work and we are more committed than Republicans. The proof's in the pudding. And finally, protecting workers' freedoms. This is so core to us as DFLers, that freedom to organize. That's tied to higher pay, stronger benefits, and greater economic security. That's what we're fighting for, and the facts back it up.
Yeah, when I hear those facts, to me, they tell an incredibly powerful story. I'm so proud to be a Minnesotan. It's what I just said prior. It's that we stand up for one another while we watch Republicans try to take away our rights and do so in through the courts and trying to pass really bad laws. I'm interested. What story comes to mind for those of you on this call? Pop some of your thoughts into the chat. We ask you to do this each and every Monday. When it comes to those facts that Asha just shared, what are the things, what kind of story does that tell you? So Asha, we obviously always have this section, do say, don't say. Tell us a little bit about how you developed this section.
Sure. So this is one of our most popular sections, and it gets the most attention, and I think that it also gets a lot of questions. So happy to demystify a little bit today. Like I said, it's in my title. So communications, research, and data. So I'm so grateful for those allies, those friends and partners that I work with. around messaging guidance. You saw Antonia Scatton, who was here on the call with us now a few weeks ago to talk about affordability. We talked about Project Lantern and the affordability for with Annie Zipfel. And I know there are so many experts that have either come on this call or that you all have interfaced with in our work. That's just one piece of who I've been working with. And like I said, Richard, some of this is primary data. There's stuff that we learn through the work that we're doing here that tells us what's going to stick with people and what's not. And there's also a lot of secondary data, so those best practices. And happy to answer any more questions folks have about that. But this is research-backed guidance, which is really important to us.
So some of the things we will say this week: democracy is about giving working people a voice. Republicans are taking freedoms away from you and your family. The system is rigged against working people, and Donald Trump and the billionaire class are using that to their advantage. Some of the things we're going to avoid this week: things that sound wonky or in the weeds. Political decisions have weakened worker power and increased corporate power. Something that sounds too abstract or academic, like authoritarianism is on the rise. That sounds like almost Chicken Little. It may be true, but it's not going to connect with voters is the point. And then finally, we need to aim to be specific, but sometimes it doesn't assign blame and lays it only on our political system. So if you say something like, our political system benefits corporate interests, greedy leaders, and their wealthy friends, that's going to miss the mark, because people need to understand who is actually doing the harm that's happening. The goal, of course, in all of this is to meet people where they are. We're not looking to police what you say or don't say, but we are looking to keep the conversation focused on Minnesotans and their lives. Sometimes the easiest way to explain what is happening is using the words, and so we have a whole quote section. We're running up against the clock, so we're not going to go too much into this. Pull one or two of these favorite quotes that are in the memo this week that you provided, Asha.
Sure. Well, I've got one right here from Governor Walz. Freedom doesn't just mean freedom from government oppression or corporate abuse. It means freedom from fear. And I'll also pull one from Secretary of State Steve Simon, as we've been talking about voting rights this morning. Trump's SAVE Act to disenfranchise voter is a recipe for some chaos. And he went on separately to say that Minnesota's elections, let this get out there. Keep saying this because it's true. Our elections are fair, accurate, honest, and secure, and every step of the way they are organized by local officials. Those are those Minnesota heroes that we keep talking about. They do honest and hard work to ensure that our neighbors, our friends, our family have access to a secure ballot. So I'll add an additional CTA today, Richard. Please all, if you know any of these people in your lives who do this election work, give them a shout out. Share them some love.
Absolutely. We need to lift up those local election workers.